Hello everyone, this is Mina Irfan and I'm a relationship, wealth, and soul mentor. Today we're talking about female breadwinners and the issues in relationships that can arise from them. This topic has been highly requested by my community. I know many women in my sisterhood are in a situation where they are the female breadwinner, and so I want to do a series of videos tackling this issue, and this may actually be helpful for you even if you're not in that situation, and just to how to manage finances in relationships. So I've got my notes here. The first thing I want to talk about is whether this was an intentional choice or not. Oftentimes it's not. It's just something that we end up manifesting in our life and relationship. And I think the why really matters, because if it's something that you have gotten into intentionally, maybe it's a temporary situation, then that's an easy fix. Like, we know how to discuss it. It's intentional, and that could just be a quick, easy mindset shift of getting back into alignment with that decision. However, it was not intentional. And then we need to look at what in you caused this situation to manifest. I am all about taking personal responsibility and knowing that our thoughts and our actions and behaviors can often create our reality. Not often, they do create our reality, but oftentimes we don't know that that's going on because we inherited those traumas and wounds from our parents and other ancestors. So let me give you an example of that. I ended up as a female breadwinner in my previous marriage, completely unintentionally. And there was a lot of things that were really disbalanced in that marriage, and we ended up getting a divorce. And when I years later looked back at that situation, it was really interesting how I came about that, because when I look at my grandparents on both of my parents' side, even though they lived in a different country where women didn't necessarily have rights at the time, or like they didn't work the same way that they do in the US, both of my grandmothers ended up being female breadwinners, even though they were living in a different country. They were in Pakistan, by the way. And so what a strange place to be ending up in, strange time to end up as the breadwinner. And then in my parents' marriage, my mom was the female, like the breadwinner for most of my childhood. So this was really interesting because I was repeating this pattern without even realizing it. The other thing that, of course, I've learned since then is that because I was in my masculine energy, I was really wounded from my childhood traumas, I had not done my healing, I ended up attracting a reciprocal of me, which was a wounded masculine energy man. And so he wanted to be out partying and things like that. Well, I was earning the money and he was completely fine with that, but that's not something that I had agreed to in our marriage. So the why is really, really important. And sometimes the why may be that it's a temporary situation. Maybe your husband is going back to school to get a higher level degree, and for the time being, you're the breadwinner. So that's a short-term kind of thing. And so there's things we can discuss around how to make that an easy transition, but that's not a make or break deal, okay? So the other thing I want to tackle is this something that's working out for both of you? Are you and your partner happy with this arrangement? Maybe you are in a situation where it's a temporary, but maybe it's affecting your self-esteem. Maybe it's affecting your intimacy in the relationship. Maybe you guys aren't having sex. Those are really easy fixes. So these are just a couple of conversations, small tweaks, and we can work around that. So just know that, what's the situation? I've worked with clients where they did not agree to being the female breadwinner, and their husbands just would refuse to get a job or sabotage any job opportunities. I actually had a cousin like this too when I was younger. Her husband just didn't want to work, and she was new to the country, had very small kids, didn't speak the language, and her husband, who had gone back home to marry her and bring her here, refused to work. I know my mom tried to get him a job. So many people tried, and he would sabotage every job. In that situation, that's a completely different situation, right? Like now we have to get really serious with if this partner, if this person is a really good match for you or not. Eventually my cousin had to go and get a job and figure it out, but this is good information to have. Watch out for stuff like that. So I recently worked with a client whose husband refused to work and was lying about working, and when he had all these big dreams about owning his business and all this stuff, but he would just never implement any of that. So she waited a really long time, gave him many chances, but he wasn't going to move. So then that is not, you have to go back to your love list. That's why I have every single client, whether you're married, single, looking, whatever your situation is, you need a love list, because it's not about whether your husband is a bad person or a good person. It's about, is he in alignment with what you desire, and how can we make that happen? Or we have to decide if that's even a good match or not. So the why, do you want to change this or not? And then the history, right? I talked about, is this a pattern that you're repeating? Also looking at your own energy and saying, have I been so long in my masculine energy that I'm just attracting the reciprocal of that, which is a man that's very much in his feminine energy, okay? Another thing that I would like to say about this is that just because you earn more than your husband, you are not necessarily the breadwinner. So in my marriage, I earn more than my husband just because of the nature of my business and how easy it is to make passive income. You just can't compare to a job, even though my husband it's a very high level executive in his company. It's just a different situation. So I earn more, but I am not the breadwinner. And that has been established since day one in our marriage, before we even got married, that he was always going to be the breadwinner. So what this looks like is that regardless of how much we both earn, it all goes in the same pot. It's all family money, and we just don't discuss money as like, I earned this or you earned this. It's family money, and there's just no talk about it. There's no, I mean, we have our financial meetings and look at our net worth and all of that, but we don't talk about like who's making what. It's all one pot. So if that's your situation, that's not something to even worry about, because it's all family money. And as long as like energetically you're on the same page that you're not the breadwinner, so stop acting like the breadwinner and give him that role to play, okay? Let's see. So the last thing I want to touch in this video is that if you are in a situation where you are either earning more or the only breadwinner and you're having issues in your marriage, what you want to do then is make sure that you're not spending your time at home in your marriage in your masculine energy. You know, these days women are so highly cultivated in our masculine energy, and I think that's fantastic. I spent most of my life very much in my masculine energy, high achiever, go-getter, make it happen, super uber disciplined. There's nothing that anyone can do that I can't do, right? So I've got that girl boss genes in me, but that was burning me out, and it was ruining my relationships. I was stressed out, I was overwhelmed, and I needed my feminine energy to balance me out. And when I started incorporating my feminine energy, life just changed. Not only my relationship with my husband, which is just bliss, but just how I am in my life now, because I know that if I am not there with my own feminine energy to even receive my own masculine energy, then I'm never going to enjoy what I'm working really hard for. Because masculine energy can get really outcome focused, very much in strategy, in doing, in achieving. There has to be that feminine energy to land on. So for example, the masculine side of me is the side of me that has a business plan, you know, is doing these videos for you guys, is planning out my content, is, you know, I've got that structure. Well, the feminine side of me is the side of me that enjoys what I've already created and enjoys the process. It makes that heart-centered connection with you guys. Enjoys what I do regardless of the outcome that's coming from it. That's the enjoyment, the appreciation, the receptive, the heart connection part of the scenario. So this is true for men as well. So a man needs feminine energy as well. He's going to get some of that from his partner and some of that from within him. Without feminine energy, we're all just giving, and there's no one there to receive it. So if you are a feminine, a female breadwinner, you have to start first and foremost by receiving yourself everything you've worked really, really hard to manifest. I get it. I know what you go through every single day to make the money that you do, to achieve the results that you do, the things that you have to deal with at work, the energy that you have to constrict and hold back, and the hormones that you have to fight against to make this happen. The truth is, women don't have the same level of testosterone than men do, and we run out of our adaptive energy really, really quickly. This is why a lot of high achieving women are so burnt out and exhausted. This is why they don't feel like having sex. This is why they just don't feel vibrant and radiant anymore. So you first and foremost need to get in your own feminine energy for you. Not to fix the relationship first, not to do any of that, but for you. So my dear, are you receiving all of your own hard work? Are you acknowledging every single thing that you do? Are you receiving everything that you've already accomplished? Are you appreciating yourself? Are you celebrating yourself? Right? So that's step number one, is that be that first feminine receiving energy within yourself for you first. Secondly, as you're coming home from work, have a little bit of a process and a routine to get in your feminine energy. This may look like you driving with some music and dancing in the car, or just like doing a few like simple rotations and softening up your body. Why is this important? When we're sitting or working or kind of like in that like masculine zone, our body hardens to that. And then we have our energy is very much constricted and kind of like I can get stuff done. It's very like hardcore. And feminine energy is all about being soft and cuddly and warm. So what I realized that all these years of being in my hyper alert masculine energy, my body had hardened. And so I have a process every single day of just doing some soft rotations of my shoulder and my hips and moving my body to some music and softening myself up. You might want to rub your hands against your body and just have like a little bit of a process to get back into your body. The easiest way to do this also is engage all 5 of your senses. So as you're driving home, what are you noticing? Take the scenic route home. What are you listening to? What do you taste in your mouth? Have a little bit of chocolate maybe on the ride home. And as you walk in the door, you have softened up your aura. You have softened up your body. Maybe you are softening up your speech. You know, I have a very masculine voice when I'm teaching and leading, and then I soften up my voice, and it's kind of coming from inside of my body and my womb space when I'm talking to my husband and my children. It's a very different vibe, and it's a different sound vibration, and they interact with it very differently than I'm in my masculine energy saying, hey, let's get this done. So you see how I can do that? This is my masculine, get stuff done, I'm going to activate you voice. It's a very different sound vibration. And this is my feminine energy, soft. Hey baby, how are you? How was your day? Hi, oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for making that for me. That's the soft feminine voice that I'll use at home with my family. So how are you carrying yourself, right? Another thing you can do is let's start getting together and having family meetings to discuss these things in a very calm and adult masculine feminine way, so that you guys start getting in on the same page. This isn't easy in the beginning. I totally get it. Our meetings weren't easy either. There was a lot of trauma that we were bringing into our discussions around money. Remember, money is there's emotional IQ around money, and then there's like actual financial literacy. So we need to be on the same page and start becoming aligned with that first ourselves, and then we can share that with our partner. So let me know in the comments, what are your questions about female breadwinners, and I will be doing a whole series on this based on your feedback, what you want to hear, and I can share more of that. If you want to learn more, join me on my free, it's a $397 masterclass, but I'm giving it away for free for my email list. It's called the $1 Million Babe, and it's about the energy of money, but it's also about your feminine and masculine balancing, and how you can balance work and life, and the energies within you and also in your relationship. So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want more videos on relationships and money and doing our inner work and just living a really vibrant life. Because babe, at the end of the day, I know how hard you have worked to achieve everything and manifest everything. It's time that you really started enjoying it, and really it starts with doing that inner work to know what are our blocks, what are we bringing to the table that's keeping us from living our bliss life, from being in high vibration every day and being in alignment, not only in our marriage, but first and foremost within ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed this. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.